pirates, summon the heroic spirit Drake at the beginning. Author, like the wind. Page 121. As long as you don't take the initiative to attack, I believe those enemies can't end me. Also, if I go with you, it will also make your companions more at ease, won't it? Yesterday, that Minamoto Reimitsu was very worried about you acting alone. Makes sense. Ziyan nodded. Then I will trouble you to go with me next time, but in order to catch the Navy and the world government in the future, if it is not necessary, I hope Semiramis you will not make a move. Of course, I promise you this. Semiramis stood up to Ziyan's narrator and said, if they are just ants with low strength, then I will naturally not make a move. Let's go. Your companions have been waiting for you in the living room for a long time. Emiya Shiru has already prepared breakfast and is waiting for you to serve it. It's good of you. You are greedy for the beauty town, and you wake up so late. Saying that, Semiramis turned his head to look at Scheherazade who had been standing behind Ziyan, and Scheherazade smiled slightly at this. If it were placed on the ancient king, then such a king would not be able to create great achievements. Hee. But, even if I am a king who is greedy for the beauty town, I will go to the great achievement. Ziyan smiled and held the hands of Semiramis and Scheherazade. Different from those kings, I have excellent companions like Semiramis and Scheherazade, and I have many other excellent companions. With you here, even if I am a little lazy, it doesn't matter. Semiramis felt the warmth of his palm, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. But when he heard Ziyan's words, he couldn't help shaking his head. Really, what a lazy and willful master. However, if it's you, as long as you desire my strength, then I will do my best to help you. Although my strength is weak, I will do my best to assist you, my king. Scheherazade on the side followed closely. Thank you. The corner of Ziyan's mouth raised. Let's go eat now. It's not good to make them wait for a long time. After finishing speaking, Ziyan dragged Semiramis and Scheherazade towards the living room. When Ziyan came to the living room, the table was already full of delicacies for breakfast. This can be said to be a luxury. When entering the living room, Ziyan's eyes could not help but drift to Arturia. At this moment, Arturia was looking at the food in front of her with bright eyes, holding chopsticks in her hand, as if she was always ready to attack the food. Seeing Ziyan coming in, Arturia showed a complaining expression. Really, Yan, you can't do this. Arturia said with a serious face. How can you delay the time to eat? It is a taboo to delay eating during the march. Sorry, Leah, haha. Seeing Arturia complaining to him, he patted the back of his head and said, actually, you don't have to wait for me. It doesn't matter if you can eat RST. If I want to eat, I can ask Emiya Shiro to prepare food for me. Haha, my best friend, the king of knights over there. If Minamoto Raikou hadn't stopped her, she wouldn't have waited for you. If it wasn't for Minamoto Reimitsu, she might have wiped out the food in front of her eyes long ago. Gilgamesh lay on the chair and said calmly, Minamoto Reimitsu, but he insisted on waiting for you to have dinner together. Even persisted to the point of drawing a knife. However, I am free. Waiting for you is also my duty as a close friend. After hearing Gilgamesh's words, Ziyan looked at Minamoto Ligwang who came to the living room from him in a little surprise, and hurriedly pulled him to sit next to her. Come on honey. Minamoto Reimitsu held a piece of food with his chopsticks and stretched it to Ziyan's mouth. Seeing Minamoto Reimitsu treating him like a child, Ziyan smiled helplessly, and opened his mouth to catch the food that Minamoto Reimitsu sent over. Ligwang, in fact, you don't have to serve me like this. Page 122. After Ziyan swallowed the food, he spoke to Minamoto Reimiko. I can eat it myself. Hearing Ziyan's words, Yuan Ligwang, who was holding a new piece of food towards Ziyan's mouth, suddenly turned red. Honey, does this despise me? No, how could I dislike Raikou? Seeing Minamoto's expression, Ziyan said quickly, and opened his mouth to catch the food on Minamoto's chopsticks. At the same time, Ziyan also gave up the idea of telling Minamoto Larimitsu not to feed him. But, Raikou, at least, don't be so obsessed with waiting for me to have dinner together. Ziyan patted Minamoto Larimitsu's thigh. Sometimes, I also get up late. At that time, you can eat RST. And now, we also have companions who like to eat more in our team. As he spoke, Ziyan looked at Arturia who was gracefully but quickly destroying the food. I am ashamed to keep my companions waiting for me. Okay, Raigwang. Ziyan looked at Minamoto Reimiko sincerely and said. Minamoto Larimitsu continued to pass food to Ziyan. Well, as long as my dear can feed you like this, it's me. After hearing Minamoto's words, Ziyan nodded helplessly, and caught the food caught by Minamoto again. Then everyone, I'm off. Wait for everyone to eat. After breakfast, Ziyan bid farewell to everyone and walked out of the castle with Semiramis. Although Minamoto Larimitsu wanted to go with him, but for Ziyan's purpose, he resisted his urge to go with him. Then, Semiramis, I will trouble you to hide your gear now. At the gate of the castle, Ziyan said to Semiramis at the side. Semiramis nodded, and his gear gradually became transparent. Ziyan smiled and walked outside the castle. It's just been away for about a day, and the changes here are so big. Walking on the street, Ziyan couldn't help but think when he saw the town that had completely changed its atmosphere. When IRST came to this island, the people on the island seemed very irritable. It can be said that they have to GHT each other at every turn. But in the towns now, duels are no longer casual. Under the changes of Drake and the others, although the tradition of dueling has been retained, the requirements for dueling have changed a lot. Now if you want to have a duel, you can only go to the duel arena to participate in their competition, and it is not limited to newcomers. Even powerful pirates with high bounties can GHT duels. Your Excellency Ziyan, I nearly found you. Just as Ziyan was wandering the town casually, a familiar voice sounded beside him. Hee, is it Nali here? Ziyan turned his head to look in the direction of the voice, thinking silently in his heart. Carrie, what's the matter with you? Seeing Khalifa running towards him excitedly, Ziyan pretended to be puzzled and asked. At the same time, in order not to make Khalifa suspicious, he still called him the false name Khalifa told him before. Khalifa ran to Ziyan and took a deep breath. It's nearly your turn, Your Excellency Ziyan. Khalifa held Ziyan's hands in the palms of both hands with a look of excitement. I've heard that, now this entire island is your territory. As for you who are now the owner of the island, I have a lot of questions and I want to interview you. I wonder if I can have an exclusive interview with you. Interviews are neat, but you should know my rules, Carrie. Ziyan smiled and said, as long as you pay enough, I would also like to let you conduct an exclusive interview with me. After all, I quite like you. Hee. Page 123. That is really good. Khalifa raised her good-looking eyebrows. Actually, we have already prepared the reward, and it will be placed with our editor-in-chief now. If possible, could you please go to my editor-in-chief's place with me? In this way, we can pay you immediately after the interview. Don't worry, Your Excellency, the reward will definitely satisfy you. If I hadn't known about your wooden nails a long time ago, maybe I would really have believed it. Seeing Khalifa's sincere face, Ziyan couldn't help thinking. Forget it, I want to take a good look around our territory now, but I don't have time to go to your place. Ziyan shook his head, and said calmly to Khalifa. After finishing speaking, Ziyan wanted to pull out the palm that Khalifa held tightly. 296. Although being held tightly by Khalifa's hands, Ziyan was very happy. But maybe it was because Khalifa was very nervous, so her hands were sweating a little at their moment. Therefore, Ziyan, who felt a little uncomfortable, still wanted to pull out his palm. And many more. Khalifa called out quickly, and pressed Ziyan's hand tightly on her chest. The soft touch immediately stimulated Ziyan's touch. Khalifa dare not just let Ziyan leave like this. Not long ago, 2 top agents came to the island ahead of the others who came to GHT against the Drake pirates, and found Spandam and her. They also specifically told Khalifa that they must successfully lure Ziyan. Although they did not say what consequences Khalifa would have after failure. But Khalifa, who is deeply aware of the situation of the world government, believes that if she does not succeed, her result will definitely not be good. So seeing that Ziyan was about to leave, Khalifa couldn't control her reserve, and quickly pressed Ziyan's hand on her chest, hoping to keep Ziyan behind. But Ziyan frowned. Seeing Ziyan's hesitant look, Khalifa pressed Ziyan's palm even harder, and her chest also changed shape severely. Please let me conduct an exclusive interview with you. It won't take up much of your time. Please, Khalifa said excitedly. It's really hard work. Looking at Khalifa's appearance, Ziyan thought, maybe their people have already landed on this island, and they are just waiting to lead me there, so that they can deal with me alone. Hey, forget it, for your sake, I promise you. Ziyan shook his head and said to Khalifa. Really? Thank you. As she spoke, Khalifa threw herself on Ziyan's body, and hugged Ziyan tightly, as if afraid of Ziyan running away. Hee, you are really enthusiastic, Carrie. Ziyan wrapped his arms around Khalifa's back, patted her and said, okay, calm down RST, aren't you going to take me for an interview? Hurry up and lead the way. After the interview, I will come back and continue to visit my territory. Yes, please come with me now. After speaking, Khalifa pulled Ziyan and walked forward. Ziyan shook his head, looked at Khalifa and said, it's too slow, you point the direction, I'll take you there. After finishing speaking, Ziyan didn't wait for Khalifa to express his opinion, and hugged Khalifa in the form of a princess hug. Khalifa was slightly surprised, then calmed down. After all, for her at the moment, completing the task is the most important thing. It's just being hugged by a princess. It's not a big deal. Seeing Ziyan hugging her, Khalifa showed a shy look, and pointed in a direction with Hanja. Is it there? After speaking, Ziyan knew into the air, and knew towards the direction Khalifa pointed at. Extremely fast. After a certain distance, Khalifa guided Ziyan to the door of a small villa in the remote part of the island. Page 124. Speaking of which, your place is really remote enough. Ziyan looked at Khalifa in his arms and said, as a collection journalists of the material, you should live in places with a lot of people. Only in this way can we notice some interesting things at any time, which is convenient for interviews. However, it's really strange that you are living here now. Hearing Ziyan's words, Khalifa smiled nervously. From the moment he came here, Khalifa wanted to leave Ziyun's arms and stay far away from Ziyun. After all, in this place, the two Zero chiefs would attack Ziyun at any time, and she was too close to him. Will be affected by the attack. But obviously, Ziyun didn't intend to let her go, so no matter how hard Khalifa struggled, she couldn't leave Ziyun's embrace. Instead she was hugged even tighter by him. It's so strange, why you were quite proactive just now, but why are you so reluctant when you get here? Ziyun showed a puzzled look. You can't lie to me. In fact, you are not a writer, and you brought me here now because you intend to keep me away from my companions, so that it's not good for me. Hearing Ziyun's words, Khalifa, who was hugged in Ziyun's arms, broke out in a cold sweat. At this moment, she only felt that her heartbeat was about to hit her throat. At this moment, the gate of the villa was smashed into pieces suddenly. Two gears in white clothes and masks surrounded Ziyun from left to right. A terrifying strong wind surrounded the two of them, and soon they came to Ziyun's side. Before Khalifa could react, the attack of the two came in front of Ziyun. Six King Spear. The two STS turned black due to the agglomeration of armed arrogance and thrust forward. A terrifying gust of wind swept across Ziyun's body immediately. But when it reached the forehead around Ziyun, it was blocked by a layer of light green fluorescence. What? Although Khalifa didn't see the gears of the two coming, but when the attack of the person who attacked Ziyun was blocked by the telekinetic power, she clearly saw the gust of wind coming. He hesitated and didn't see that the attack had been blocked by Ziyun's telekinetic power, and Khalifa, who thought she was going to be attacked after buying it, couldn't help but scream like a little girl. Hearing Khalifa's lovely voice, Ziyun couldn't help but smile. I never thought that you, who are so mature, can make such a voice. Ziyun patted Khalifa's buttocks and laughed. Looking at your attire, you should be from World Government Zero. However, are you planning to take action against your own people? Ziyun kicked Khalifa in his arms and looked at the masked two and said, this woman is still by my side. Ziyun, despise the majesty of the world government. Today, you will be left behind. Seeing their sudden attack, after being blocked by Ziyun, the two workers stopped attacking for a while. Besides, it is also an honor for this woman to be able to die for the mission! Khalifa widened her eyes when she heard Zero workers' words. Am I abandoned? Khalifa thought sadly. It seems that they will not save me from Ziyun's arms. And Ziyun will nightly kill me when he ends out that he was cheated by me. Khalifa looks sad. 238. Looking at Khalifa with a sad face, Ziyun patted her on the back lightly, and looked at Zero's agent. That can't be done. I promised her to conduct an exclusive interview with me. Before her interview is finished, she can't be allowed to die. Hearing Ziyun's words, Khalifa stared at Ziyun with wide eyes. You will know that I'm just an agent who lured you here. Why don't you kill me? Khalifa asked Ziyun in surprise. Hee. Didn't I tell you that I still like you quite a bit? So, you must conduct an exclusive interview with me. Ziyun smiled and said, of course, you still have to prepare for the reward you deserve. Hearing Ziyun's words, although she knew that Ziyun was an enemy, Khalifa blushed slightly at the person who protected her under the hands of Agent Zero. Page 125. Oh. It seems that Spandam's information is indeed correct. Ziyun is a man who likes beautiful women. A0 agent said, since you are here, you can still act so relaxed. Is it because the companions not far behind you gave you contents? Khalifa looked behind Ziyun suspiciously, but she didn't see anyone behind Ziyun. Although Khalifa didn't complete the task perfectly, but if you can bring only one companion, we are enough to keep you. The agent continued. Oh, not far from Ziyun, Semiramis appeared himself. It looks like an ant, but it's not a useless ant. Is this the knowledgeable domineering? It seems that it is a slightly amazing ability. Even if it's domineering to a certain degree. Otherwise, they will not be aware of your position, Semiramis. Ziyun shook his head and said, Number 2, Ziyun will be dealt with by me. You go and kill that woman, prevent her from going back and calling for backup. 1-0 agent looked at another 0 and said, Oh. Are you going to shoot me? Semiramis straightened his hair. In this case, let me give you a chance to taste the poisoned wine. You should feel honored. Ha. I'm really underestimated. Ziyun laughed wildly. Dozens of golden ripples unfolded behind him, and a pair of powerful weapons emerged from it. Since you are dealing with me, you also want to deal with Semiramis here. Sure enough, ignorance is terrible, and it often leads people to the abyss. Oh, amazing ability. Jin Guang behind the agent was not surprised. For him, it doesn't matter what abilities their enemy has, as long as he is responsible for killing himself. It's just a woman, just kill her. Agent 2, known as Number 0, stepped forward. Hold Ziyun, and I'll kill that. The female pirate. Come back immediately to support you. The two of us join hands to quickly kill Ziyun. Number 20 believes that number is enough to defeat Ziyun. After all, Ziyun has not shown too much strength so far. Even if he has defeated Gup, it does not necessarily prove that he is better than Gup. So they still believe in the information Caliph got from Ziyun before. It's a pity that they didn't know that Ziyun deliberately told them false information. What an arrogant ants. You actually said you want to get rid of me. Semiramis walked to Ziyun's side. Besides, I'm not a pirate. Although I also belong to Blue Star. Not all Blue Star people are pirates. Even if you're sailing with the Captain Drake, that person may not be a pirate. You have to be clear about that. As for my identity, let me tell you generously. Semiramis raised his head slightly. My name is Semiramis, the Queen of Assyria. I am a king. Hearing what Semiramis said, the 20 agents frowned slightly. They had never heard of a country like Assyria. However, the members of Blue Star, it was the RST time that a member who was not a pirate appeared, which made them pay attention a little bit. Sorry, Ziyun. I may be going against what I just said. Semiramis looked at Ziyun and smiled and said, I don't want to be indifferent to those who look down on me, so I also want to participate in this game. Oh, you can do it anytime, if you want. Ziyun shook his head and said, it's just a woman who calls herself a king and wants to attack us. Agent number 20 shook his head. You will regret it soon. After Nishing speaking, the agents will go beyond Ziyun and attack Semiramis. Page 126. Echoing the 0 agent attacking Semiramis, another 0 agent also quickly rushed towards Ziyun. I want to disperse Ziyun and Semiramis. Sorry, it's impossible to pass through here. Seeing Agent 0 rushing towards Semiramis, Ziyun shook his head, and several dangling weapons behind him quickly shot at Agent 0. At the same time, Ziyun also read several weapons at Agent 0 who rushed towards him. Although Ziyun does not object to Semiramis participating in the battle, it does not mean that he will take the initiative to let the enemy attack Semiramis. Seeing the sword and weapon shooting towards them with golden light, the 2 agents smiled coldly, and the muscles of their bodies instantly swelled up, like steel. Iron Nugget. The agents shouted together, and the bodies of the 2 random people swelled even more, and the muscles on their bodies glowed with metallic luster. Randomly swung his ST towards the golden weapon that was shot, trying to resist Ziyun's treasure with his own body. Ignorance. Seeing Agent 0 who didn't even need to be armed with a domineering look, Ziyun smiled coldly. Although most of the noble phantasms that attacked the 2 were ordinary noble phantasms, there were also 2 relatively powerful noble phantasms among them. In Ziyun's heart, even if the 2 top agents among 0 are powerful people, but only with iron blocks. But he couldn't even think of blocking the 2 treasures that were shot at the 2 of them. Soon the 20 agents paid for their slight laugh. Although the 2 agents blocked most of the incoming treasures, but each had a sword that broke through their iron blocks, defense, and cut a hideous wound on their arms. If it wasn't for the quick response of the 20 workers who tore away their arms in time, Ziyun's attack just now would have cut off their arms. The 20 agents who stopped sprinting looked at their wounds, then looked at Ziyun solemnly. Their navy vi is not comparable to the agents of 9. It can be said that the iron block they used. His defense ability is stronger than many people who use armed domineering to defend. This is why they dared to use iron blocks to block Ziyun's weapons. But the result now is that they almost paid the price of having their arms cut off, which is far from Agent 0's expectation. Life returned. Following the voices of 20 agents, the wounds of the 2 began to slowly dissipate. Be careful, his weapon is weird. Agent number 0 said. Using return to life, I can't let the wound heal quickly, and I can't touch it so casually anymore. Agent 20 number nodded. The 2 looked back slightly, trying to end the weapon that had just wounded them. Although when those weapons came out of the golden air ripples, their knowledge and arrogance had already told that these weapons were not simple. After all, even on many big sharp knives, they didn't feel the powerful fluctuations of these shining golden weapons. Although a little surprised that Ziyun could produce so many excellent weapons at once, the 0 agents who were thinking about carrying out the mission did not pay too much attention to these weapons, and wanted to deal with Ziyun and Semiramis RST. However, at this moment, these weapons have to make them pay attention. The 0 agents who were injured by Ziyun's weapon raised the idea of using Ziyun's projected weapon to deal with Ziyun. Seeing the 20 agents defending himself and Semiramis moving towards the sword that wounded them, Ziyun couldn't help shaking his head. You don't want to take my weapon, do you? This is not a treasure that you guys can touch. Hearing Ziyun's words, the 0 agents who thought Ziyun wanted to stop them from snatching the weapons quickly ran towards the 2 swords stuck on the ground. When people rushed to the swords and stretched out their hands to pick up the swords, the 2 swords turned into dots of golden light and disappeared into the air. Didn't I say it, my treasure? You reach out for it. Ziyun frowned and looked at the 20 agents. If I let Jill know that I let the enemy touch these at will, he might not be happy. So, I have to give you a little punishment. Page 127. Following Ziyun's words, golden ripples continuously appeared behind Kong Yun. The golden air ripples continued to increase, soon filling the sky. This is. The 20 agents looked at the golden air ripples in the sky in surprise. No, Ziyan must be dealt with RST. If there are such weapons inside, we will be in danger. After a Zero agent finished speaking, he tried his best to. As Ziyan rushed forward, his aura increased steadily. The other Zero agent watched his companion rush towards Ziyan, and followed closely behind, bringing up gusts of wind. When the two Zero agents were about to approach Ziyan, who was holding Khalifa, several chains emitting a purple-black halo locked towards them. After being wounded by Ziyan's sword last time, the two Zero agents saw the ominous chains, and they didn't dare to resist with their bodies. The armed domineering covered his STS and feet, and hit the Ying chains. At the same time, he ran towards Ziyan at an unabated speed. Seeing the two Zero agents Ying the chains he sent out, Semiramis smiled, and more purple-black chains burst out from under his feet, heading towards the Zero agents. At the same time, mysterious black plates appeared above Semiramis, and then rays you out of them, grazing towards Zero's agents. Seeing the rays and chains coming from their colleagues, the two agents had to change direction to avoid being attacked by the rays and chains. If they don't dodge and resist these two kinds of attacks, the agents believe that they will not be able to continue running towards Ziyan. Now, do you still think I'm just a weak woman? Semiramis stroked his hair and laughed. Facing Semiramis' words, the two Zero agents remained silent. Originally, you could drink and beat me alone. Ziyan shook his head. You guys are going to mess with Semiramis whenever I tell you. Ziyan raised his head. Then, now please enjoy my treasure. Haha. Just as Ziyan finished speaking, countless weapons shot out from the golden light all over their sky, ying towards the two Zero agents at an extremely fast speed. Gong had no choice but to cover his whole body with armed domineering aura while continuing to run towards Ziyan, hoping to end a chance to get close to Ziyan. After all, their powerful attack methods require melee combat to erupt, and Ziyan's advantage is too great in the distance. It's really a huge scene. Semiramis looked at the rain of light and said to Ziyan, under such an attack, if I don't make a move, they will have nothing to do with you, right? Looking at Agent Zero, who kept dodging under the attack of his own treasure, Ziyan smiled and said, although it looks easy, it will consume my magic power at the same time. Even for me, it's hard to hold on for too long, but it's okay to persevere until they exhaust themselves. However, this is too boring. Looking at Agent Zero, who was dodging or resisting in the Ziyan treasure, Semiramis shook his head. The advanced combat power of the world government seems to be nothing more than that. Hearing Semiramis' words, Khalifa in Ziyan's arms broke out in cold sweat. Probably you are the only ones who dare to say that. Khalifa thought to herself. No, if this continues, we will die. Seeing the uninterrupted falling weapons, Agent Number 0 yelled at his companion not far away. Escape with force. At least we still have hope. This Ziyan's strength is not what the report said. With such a weird ability, coupled with his previous performance methods, this guy Knightly has the strength to defeat Garp. By this time, the agent had given up the idea of killing Ziyan. At this time, they just want to escape back to the large forces of the Navy and the world government, and tell them the information about Ziyan and his new companion, Semiramis. I hope to be able to recalculate the combat power of Ziyan and his gang so that we can arrange manpower to arrest Ziyan and his companions. According to Ziyan's current strength, coupled with the newly appeared Semiramis, who is suspected to have great strength, the two agents believe that relying on the manpower sent now to capture the Drake pirates is likely to fail, and if the two of them were so easily damaged here, it would be impossible to arrest Ziyan and his party. After thinking about it, Out immediately acted, ignoring the weapons attacking him around him, and aimed with all his strength in the direction away from Ziyan. Page 128. Since you're here, don't think about leaving, Ziyan said lightly. Around the two Zero agents who were aiming, a few golden ripples suddenly increased. When Zero agents were still worried about the incoming weapons, several chains suddenly shot out from the golden ripples and trapped them severely. Seeing that they were bound by chains, the two agents quickly exerted all their strength, trying to break the chains that bound them. But as the strength of the two strengthened, the chain did not break free, but was locked even tighter. That's it, it's over. Seeing Agent Zero locked up by the skylock, Ziyan said calmly. As the master, he is so powerful. It seems that I need to work harder. As a servant, Semiramis shook his head, staring at the bound Agent Zero. However, Ziyan, how should we deal with these two people? The people of the world government should be killed. Ziyan looked indifferently at Agent Zero, who was already bruised and bruised. There's no reason for these world government guys to go back like this. Since they're here, they naturally need to pay a little price. That's it, then, let them die in pain. After Semiramis finished speaking, he slightly raised his hand. Following Semiramis' movements, several purple-black chains appeared around the two Zero agents, and revolved around them. Soon, a huge purple-black light descended from the sky and enveloped the two Zero agents. The Pride King's wine, I don't know if this kind of poison suits your taste. Seeing Agent Zero Semiramis struggling painfully in the black light, he said with a smile. Does it hurt? Pain is right. My poison is not good. Already, it's hopeless. Seeing that the 2-0 agents had been infected by the poison of Semirami's second treasure, Ziyan removed the chains of the skylock, and at the same time the golden air ripples in the air began to gradually dissipate. After that, let them go. Ramis. Ziyan looked at Semiramis and said, anyway, their lives are coming to an end, and they think there will be doctors who can save them in their team. Yes, let them die in pain next. Hearing the workers' screams, Semiramis nodded. So, what will I do with you next? Ziyan looked at Khalifa who was trembling in his arms. Hey, do you need to shake like this? I didn't ask you either. Coco, you said just now, you hated people of the world government. Khalifa looked at Agent Zero, who was rolling on the ground, with purple-black rays of light constantly emerging from his body. Aren't you going to kill people from the world government? Me too. So, okay, if I want to kill you, will I still hold you for so long like this? Ziyan interrupted Khalifa and gently put her on the ground. Then, let's say goodbye for now. Now that these two people have been resolved, it's time for us to go back. As for your exclusive interview, I'll do it again when I have a chance. Ha ha. Looking at Ziyan who laughed and led Semiramis towards the castle, Khalifa held her chest and took a deep breath. Although Ziyan blocked the attack of Agent Zero just now, she also blocked the attack of Zero for herself, but she is still very afraid of Ziyan, who she has deceived. Especially when anyone heard that Ziyan had a dislike for people from the world government, Khalifa couldn't stop trembling. Looking at Agent Zero who was still lying on the ground and howling, Khalifa sighed faintly. Even if Ziyan didn't kill me, so what? I didn't catch Ziyan this time, and let the 2-0 top agents become like this. It's hard to explain to the world government. Just when Khalifa was worried, Spandam ran out of the villa and came to 2-0 agents. Just now Spandam has been watching the battle between Ziyan, Semiramis and Agent Zero in the villa. When he saw the two agents Zero being suppressed by Ziyan, Spandam's heart jumped to his throat. I'm afraid that once Ziyan really kills Agent Zero, he will clean up the villa in the future. At the same time, Spandam is also worried that 2-0 agents died here, and the world government will make himself responsible for the person who gave the world government the report on Ziyan's strength. Page 129. Fortunately for Spandam, though Agent Zero was defeated, he did not die. If he rescued Agent Zero in time, maybe on the side of the world government, he could still have hope of surviving. Seeing Agent Zero howling happily, Spandam wanted to help them up. But as soon as his hand was stretched out in front of the two, he saw the ominous purple-black light constantly ashing onto man's body, and Spandam took his hand back in time. Both of sirs, are you all right? Spandam rubbed his hands and asked Zero who was rolling on the ground. Spandam, immediately send us back. A Zero agent spoke intermittently. It is hard for the 2-0 agents to believe that there is such pain in the world. Even if they were well trained, after being attacked by Semiramis, they could only roll and howl continuously. At this moment, every part of their bodies was in extreme pain, sometimes as if they were placed in aims, and sometimes as if they were thrown into ice water. But no matter what kind of feeling it is unbearable pain. Now, they just want to go back to the big army as soon as possible, let the doctor treat their injuries, and keep themselves away from such pain. Okay, two of sirs. Hearing Agent Zero's order, Spandam quickly agreed. Bruno, hurry up and get out of the villa, and use your ability to bring the two of sirs back. After agreeing to Zero, Spandam turned around and yelled at Bruno in the villa. Hearing Spandam's voice, Bruno also used his ability to open the space and quickly came to Agent Zero. Please. The two leaders of Zero, come with me. Bruno opened a new portal and said to Zero's agent, my portal can't open too far, so it takes a few more times to reach the destination. Please be patient for a while, both of you. After speaking, Bruno wanted to help the 2-0 agents. You don't need to help me, you just need to concentrate on teleportation. An agent waved his hand and insisted on standing up. Hurry up, we can still do it. Following this agent, another Zero said, hurry up, go to the main force in the shortest distance. There. Doctors, they should have a solution for what's on us. Bruno nodded. In his heart, he actually didn't dare to touch the purple-black light that made 2-0 top agents who were much stronger than him couldn't help but howl in pain. It's just that the status of the two agents is much higher than him, so I have to help them. Hearing that 2-0 agents are willing to act on their own, Bruno is also relieved. Then, sirs, be careful. Bruno turned around and said, in order to reach the large army as quickly as possible, I will open the portal directly in the air during the rush. I hope that the two of sirs can use the mooncloth in time. Stop talking nonsense and lead the way. A0 agent trembled and walked in front of the portal. We haven't reached the point where we can't even use the mooncloth. Hearing what Agent Zero said, Bruno lost his worries, turned around and rushed into the portal, followed by two Agent Zero. This time it's really terrible. I thought I could catch Ziyan if I lured him alone. I didn't expect that guy to be so strong. Even if that woman named Semiramis doesn't make a move, Ziyan is not something that two top agents can easily defeat. After seeing Agent Zero and No disappear, Spandam scratched his hair and complained. If Ziyan can't be defeated quickly, Ziyan's other companions will definitely come, so it was a mistake to lure Ziyan to come out alone from the beginning. This is all your fault, Khalifa. Thump pointed at Khalifa and shouted, if your information hadn't been wrong, we wouldn't have sent someone to arrest Ziyan alone. The current important combat forces have been seriously injured, and the world government will not let you go. At this time, Spandam put all the responsibility on Khalifa, who was spying on Ziyan, and he didn't think at all that it was he who made Khalifa act, or that he was the one who analyzed their intelligence collected by Khalifa. At this moment, Spandam just wants to draw a line with this matter, hoping that the world government will not punish him. No, I have to go to the world government as soon as possible. Page 130. The government report will do. In order not to take responsibility, Spandam hurriedly ran towards the villa. Xiang wanted to call the world government to push out all the responsibilities. Seeing Spandam running towards the villa, Khalifa clenched her STS tightly. If it wasn't for the strong self-control that the training at 9 had given her, at this moment, her ST would have punched Spandam's disgusting face. After Spandam arrived at his room, he quickly picked up the phone and called the world government. Hey, I'm Zero's Commander Spandam, I have an important report. After the call was connected, Spandam said hastily, the plan of the 2 Zero chiefs to arrest Ziyan failed, but the 2 Zeros are still alive, and they are rushing towards the large force that encircled and suppressed the Drake pirates. Why did it fail? Spandam, you just called and said that Ziyan has been lured out by Khalifa alone. A low voice came from the phone bug. Could it be that your information was wrong? In fact, Ziyan's own strength is very strong, and he can withstand the attacks of 2 top Zero workers. Hearing the deep voice of the high-level world government in the phone bug, Spandam trembled violently. That, in fact, a companion came with Ziyan. That is a woman I have never seen before, and she is also the empress of the place she is. She's very powerful, and the damage the 2 Zeros are suffering now is mainly caused by their ability of this woman named Semiramis. In that case, there is nothing wrong with the information about Ziyan's strength, it's just that their woman named Semiramis is too powerful, so the attack on Ziyan failed, right? World government officials said that, in fact, Ziyan's strength is also very strong. He used abilities he had never shown before, and many weapons were shot from golden ripples that suddenly appeared in the air. It is even difficult for the 2 of Sirs of Zero to attack Ziyan, Spandam said quickly. In fact, Spandam didn't want to tell the high-level world government on the opposite side of their phone bug about Ziyan's strength, because once he told him, it meant that the information he had given about Ziyan's strength was wrong. However, Spandam is afraid that if he does not tell the top level of the world government about Ziyan's strength, it may bring unfavorable factors to the upcoming encirclement and suppression of the Drake pirates. If you have caused huge losses in this battle because you didn't tell the top level of the world government, the world government will definitely not let you go. In addition, even if you don't tell now, the 2 Zero agents will tell the truth when they arrive at their main force, and it will be even more difficult for me. Casually, Spandam still struggled to tell what he saw about Ziyan's strength. So, Spandam, your previous intelligence was wrong. You still remember what I told you last time? Since you messed up again this time, you must know your result. The gloomy voice of the world government came from the phone bug, making Spandam's heart beat wildly. 105. Wait, sir, it's not what you think it is. Hearing the words of the top level of the world government, Spandam quickly explained, I was just deceived by my subordinates, and it was all a conspiracy by my subordinates. Those guys despise me for being weak but still want to issue orders to them, so they want to deceive me and want the world government to punish me, especially that Khalifa. That woman is very close to Ziyan. Originally, I thought it was just Khalifa doing this to obtain information, but now that I think about it, it is possible that Khalifa has long betrayed the world government and became Ziyan's person. Otherwise, how could it be possible for Ziyan not only not to kill Khalifa after knowing that he was ambushed by 2 of Zero's top agents, but also to protect Khalifa in the battle with Zero's 2 chiefs, and to keep embracing her? Take Khalifa. So, it's all the responsibility of my subordinates, and has nothing to do with me. I really don't know how you became the commander of 9 with your ability. The top level of the world government said coldly, you take me for a fool. Do you think I will believe it? No, no, how dare I? Spandam quickly explained. Needless to say, Spandam, from this moment on, you are no longer the commander of 9. The top level of the world government said, you are responsible for this matter, and your 9 agents are also responsible. I don't care whose fault it is primarily, that Khalifa has become Ziyan's woman. None of you 9 can escape. After all, you 9 are indeed incapable of doing things. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, where you can find advanced audiobooks that hasn't been uploaded on YouTube till now. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook, I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.